Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today in Inner Village. I am Kim, of course, as you may know. And we're really excited for today's workshop that we have. So we have Dr. Nekessa Remy, who's with us from the chiropractic office. How are you?
I am so excited to be here. I was just sharing with Kim before that I have been kind of stalking you guys for a little while. And then when I saw you on eTalk, I was like, oh, I got to reach out to them now. I have to. So I'm really, really excited that this is happening.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. As many of us who are working from home, I was sharing before as well that I know I personally need today's session, as I do feel that my posture has changed over the past year. So I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to what you have to share. Just before we get started, I do want to share a few reminders. And so I always recommend that we try to limit any distractions. This is going to be a wonderful time for you to learn, share, and also ask questions. So it would be great if you can, give your full attention to that as much as possible. Also, another reminder that this is a space in which we want to ensure is mutually respectful for everyone. So you can use the chat to share any thoughts, comments, or questions. If you would like to turn your camera on, we strongly encourage that. And if you wanted to also maybe say something out loud, you definitely can. Please use the raise hand function, and then we'll be sure to call on your name. So Dr. Nekessa, I welcome you once again to Inner Village, and please take it away.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be sharing this space with everyone that's here today. As Kim said, my name is Dr. Nekessa Remy. I am a chiropractor. I have been for the last 14 years, so it's been a little while. And I'm especially excited to be here because when I started in the health and wellness field 14 years ago, there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. And I was fortunate enough, the very first female Black doctor I met was a chiropractor. And I became obsessed with her when I was in university, and that's how I'm here today. So I am really excited to share this space with anyone who is looking to be well, be healthy, and everything that I do stems from my philosophy that healthy living is a right. It's not a privilege. Like, we all deserve to be healthy and happy and well. And so I'm so excited to be sharing this information with you guys today, because at the end of it, I'm hoping that you will have some information, some tips and tools that will help you not just improve your posture, but feel better and move better. And as Kim mentioned, I'm hoping when we get to the second part of the presentation, which is kind of doing some exercises and some stretches, that you will turn your cameras on so that way we can stretch together. All right, so I will go ahead and get started with my presentation. I'm sure everyone knows working from home has become quite the norm. And unfortunately, what this means is that we are sitting for longer periods than we ever have before. So when I say that pandemic posture is a thing, it's a thing. It's a real thing. And I see it in my office daily. And it's people our age, but it's also kids. Like, it's crazy how much we are sitting. And one thing that's really important to understand is we're not designed to be sitting, okay? And I will explain a little bit more about that as we go. But yeah, at the end, I'll give you all my contact information. But as it says here, I am the creator of the Better Posture program, which I'll talk about later. And I also have a clinic in Mississauga, which is where I treat posture patients 8 hours a day, almost every day a week. It's just been nuts this past year. So let's talk about posture and how you can hopefully not end up in my practice. All right, so a lot of people ask me, oh, do I need to get an ergonomic assessment? Do I need ergonomic furniture? And I don't think a lot of people quite understand what ergonomics is, because yes, ergonomic furniture, that's part of it, but ergonomics is really just kind of arranging your space so that you can work more efficiently and your body can do so in a safe kind of position, a safe posture. And if you work for, a big company, they'll often have teams dedicated to ergonomics, because the more comfortable you are, the more efficient you are, which means productivity goes up. So this is why big businesses will spend a lot of money on ergonomics. So if you're working from home and your company has, discussed providing you with equipment, look into that, because like I said, the more comfortable you are, it means the more you're going to work, which is better for business. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about neutral spine and what that means. So ergonomics, good posture, is all based on us having a neutral spine. So our spines aren't designed to be straight. They really are an F shape. And if they lose that shape, or if they're forced into positions where we're straighter or we're bent more, that's going to lead to discomfort. It's going to lead to injury. So a lot of the suggestions I talk about today are designed to keep your spine from your neck, your upper back, your lower back into this S shape. And the one thing I will say is, when you sit up tall, you do maintain that S shape. But what happens is, the longer we sit, so even if we're sitting and we're sitting up tall, what tends to happen is those little discs, so in the picture, those little blue things, those are discs and they're filled with fluid. But what happens is, when we sit, sometimes that fluid is decreased. So our spine actually starts to compress. And it doesn't matter how fit you are, how flexible, how strong you are, it doesn't matter. After 50 minutes, so that's 50, after 50 minutes, every spine starts to undergo compression. So the one thing, if you can do absolutely nothing or you cannot follow any of the recommendations I make today, the one thing I want you to do, I want you to promise me, promise yourself, is that you're going to get up. If you can get up every hour, and I don't mean you have to get up for, half an hour or 20 minutes, even if you get up for a minute, you do a little walk around the living room, or you go grab water, you go to the washroom, you're resetting your spine, okay? So like I said, if you take away one thing, get up every hour. So what I want to talk about first are your desks. I hope most of you are working from desks and nobody is working from their bed. I pray nobody is working from their bed, because if you're working from your bed, I can't help you. You're just going to have pain. It is what it is. But when you're looking at desks and desk height, it's easy to know if you've got the right height. Your elbows should be bent 90 degrees. Your wrist should be straight on your desk. So as you can see here, whether you're sitting, you're standing, that 90 degrees in the elbow and the wrist, that's what we're looking for. So that's how you know if you've got a good desk, okay? So again, it doesn't matter the height of the desk, the height of the chair, as long as you have that 90-degree angle, you're good. So as I said here, you just want to make sure that your keyboard and mouse are at elbow height, whether you're sitting or standing, okay? So if you're going to be working from your kitchen bar, make sure that you're able to maintain that 90 degrees angle. If you're working from a dining room table, you have to make sure that you are maintaining that 90-degree angle. And if you can't maintain it with the desk, that's okay. You can adjust the chair. So a couple little things that you can do at home, and we'll go into more specifics. So if your desk is too high, okay, if the desk is too high, some desks will have a keyboard tray. Pull out the keyboard tray and use that to rest your hands and your forearms. That will allow you to get closer to 90 degrees, okay? So if the desk is too high, use the keyboard tray. The other thing you can do if your desk is too high, raise your seat, okay? Raise your seat, make sure your feet are still flat on the floor, but you want to try to raise the seat. If your seat is not adjustable, that's when you can look at maybe getting a foam cushion to sit on so that you're a little bit more raised, okay? Now, what do you do if your desk is too low? Well, in this photograph, and I've had patients who have done this, they will take things like here, someone's got paint cans, but I've had patients take textbooks because they have this nice fancy desk that they spent a lot of money on and they don't want to change it, which I get, but they've actually raised the desk. So they've just put risers and stuff under the desk. And I believe on Amazon, there are things called desk risers that you can get that you just put on the legs, which will raise the desk. So if you don't want to go out there and spend more money on a new desk, consider things like that, okay? So if the desk is too low, you need to rise the desk. If your desk is too high, you need to either rise yourself or use that keyboard tray, okay? And I want to make sure if you guys have any questions, please do type them in the chat, and Kim will keep me on top of that. All right, so let's talk about computers and computer screens. How do you know what's going to work for you and what's not? The majority of us are working from laptops, and unfortunately, laptops are not adjustable. But one thing you have to keep in mind, okay, is the top of your monitor, okay? So the top of your monitor, whether you're using a laptop or a desktop, should be around here, like eyebrow level, okay? That's the top of the monitor. That's different than the top of the screen. So the screen is the actual viewing thing, the viewing box, but the monitor is the whole thing, okay? So your monitor should be eyebrow level. What that does is if my monitor is at this level, when I'm looking at my computer screen, my eyes are actually looking down slightly. And that's important because it helps to reduce eye fatigue, okay? And eye fatigue is a very common cause of headaches. So when patients come in and tell me they're getting headaches because they're working all day, that's one of the things I look at. What is your screen height? What is your monitor height? Now here in the picture, what this person has done is they've just put textbooks under their laptop screen. And that works because it raises the screen. Now, again, if you've got a desktop, it's a little more adjustable. But if you don't have a desktop and all you have is a laptop, one thing I would recommend is maybe getting just a wireless keyboard. It's going to be a lot less expensive than having to replace everything with an adjustable desktop. So if you've got the wireless keyboard, that can be placed on the desk while your screen is raised, okay? So consider that. I'm sure everyone right now is looking at the height of their screen. So consider that when you are setting up your workstation. Now, another couple little things to keep in mind with monitors is your monitor should be about an arm's length away from you, okay? Anything too far, again, can affect eye strain, and anything too close can also cause your eyes to fatigue. So it should be about an arm's length away. The other thing to keep in mind is the angle of your screen, okay? So glare is something that we have to consider if we're working near windows or lots of light. If you have an issue with glare, or anyone can do this, I want you to tilt your screen back. So the top of your screen is tilted posterior or tilted back a little bit. That is going to help reduce glare. And glare is another common cause of headache and actually neck pain when we are working. So you just push the top of the screen slightly away from you, and that will help to reduce glare. Okay, and I hope I'm not going too fast, but one really interesting thing I hear from patients is people are working with like 2, 3, 4 screens at their desk, which I think is insane, but it is what it is. So how do we make that more ergonomic? Well, if you've got one screen directly in front of you, okay, directly in front of you, arm's length away. If you have 2 screens, you want to angle them almost at 45, so you're in the middle of the 2 screens, okay? Especially if you're kind of having to go back from screen to screen, right in the middle. And if you're one of those poor people who got 3 screens and more, consider the screen you look at the most. Put that screen directly in front of you, and then the other ones are at equal distance to the side. Okay, that is really important. The screen that you look at the most directly in front of you, and then the other ones at the side. Now, if you are someone, because I hear this a lot, who uses their laptop for their keyboard, but has their laptop attached to a screen, like a big monitor screen, what I would suggest is have the monitor screen a little bit raised behind the laptop, so that way you can still type and look straight ahead of you. Okay? All right, and these are all important because improper screen placement, again, neck pain, headaches, very common causes of those injuries. Okay? All right, so let's talk about keyboards. With keyboards, the most important thing is your wrists need to be in what's called a neutral position. Okay, so some keyboards will have, oh my God, a wrist guard, right? Which is like a cushion. Now, if you don't have a cushion, and what I did was, I think in preparation, I mentioned bringing a towel. If you don't have a cushion, just roll up a towel like this, okay? And you can use that to place underneath your wrist. So I would just place this here, and then I'm typing away. Why do you need a wrist guard? We've all heard of things like carpal tunnel, right? Carpal tunnel is due to a lot of pressure here, and that's because when we type, we're resting this on a hard surface. So to eliminate the hard surface, you can just put a little padding here. And again, if you don't want to go out and buy a wrist guard, just roll up your towel, place it there. It will do just the same job, okay? But again, you want to make sure your wrists are here, you're not typing here, and you're definitely not typing there, because that's going to lead to a lot of wrist pain and forearm pain too. All right, seats. Oh, I get so many questions about seats. People ask me what brand to buy and things like that. And to be honest, there are hundreds of brands of seats. And for me to tell you which one is the best, I would be doing you a disservice. If you are able to go out and buy a chair, or if your workplace is offering to buy you a chair, the only advice that I give you is look for a chair that has a lot of adjustable features. Well, three important adjustable features. One, the armrest. So the armrest should be able to go up and down. Two, the backrest should be able to go forward and back. And three, the seat pan. Now the seat pan, what we're sitting on, okay, should be able to go up and down, but also tilt slightly forward and up, okay? When the seat pan is able to tilt, if you are lucky enough to have one of those chairs, you want the seat pan to tilt downward slightly. That's going to allow your knees to be slightly lower than your hips, which is really important for circulation. Because when you're sitting, you're not moving, right? We want proper circulation going to our feet and coming back up. So again, you want that seat pan to tilt down, okay? Now, if you don't have one of these fancy chairs and you are working from a dining room table, or dining room chair, this is where pillows and stuff come into great handiness. I mentioned earlier about that S spine. Your low back curves. So you need something that curves with your low back. A dining room chair is like straight, right? So it's not supporting that S curve. So if you try to sit back into that dining room chair, you're going to straighten your spine and we're going to lose the S curve. So that's when you take a pillow. This towel is a little too small, but same idea. Roll it up and place it into the S part of your spine. So wherever your spine curves in the most, that's where your pillow should go. Pillow, cushion, sweater, whatever you have, roll it up and put it there, okay? Another important feature is if your seat doesn't adjust a lot, if you find that your feet are dangling or that your feet don't feel supported, consider getting a footrest, okay, or a step stool. And for anybody that has kids that are working from home, make sure their feet are not dangling, okay? That's really, really important. You need the feet supported because that's going to allow the spine, the pelvis and the spine to be properly supported, okay? So kids do not have their feet hanging. We all have Amazon boxes. I know every one of us has been shopping from Amazon. Grab your Amazon box, put it under their feet, but do make sure their feet are supported, okay? Very, very, very important. All right, now, I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about standing desks. Standing desks online right now range anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. If you already have one at home, great, lucky you. Stand. Research is showing that when we alternate between sit and stand, so if we're working 8 hours a day, 4 of those hours should be sitting, 4 of those hours should be standing. Whether you do every hour you change or whether you do 2, 2, 2, whatever works for you. But research is saying you need to alternate between the two. You don't want to stand all day, and you definitely don't want to sit all day. Now, if you don't have one of those $1,000 desks, that's okay. We can create our own standing desk, especially if we're working from a laptop and we have the flexibility to move around. Move around. I love the second picture where this woman is using her ironing board as a desk. That's genius. Genius. I don't even use my ironing board. It's sitting in a cupboard here. I haven't used that thing in months. But it makes a great standing desk, especially if you're working from a laptop. If you don't have an ironing board, that's okay. Another great little tool is a laundry basket. Flip it upside down, put it on your desk, your laptop goes on top, you're standing and you're working from a standing position. This gentleman here, he's got boxes. Whatever you have, use, okay? Again, especially if you've got that laptop or you've got some flexibility, use it, use it, use it, okay? And what I often tell patients is if you're going to be doing like a meeting where, you know, you're able to, where you're on the phone and you don't have to be at your desk, that is a perfect time to walk around. We can walk and talk at the same time. So that's another thing is look at what you're doing during the day. If you're just doing a phone call, get up. If you've got the ironing board, the laundry basket, the boxes, use those, okay? But if you can stand, stand. Now, one important thing though about standing, okay, is especially if you've got hardwood or laminate floors, I would recommend wearing shoes while you're standing. Many of us have weak arches or flat feet, and standing, if you're standing especially for like 2 hours, may not be the greatest doing it barefoot. So do have a pair of shoes. If you do have a standing desk, you should invest in what's called an anti-fatigue mat, which is really just like a cushion mat. And to be honest, you can just get a kitchen mat from Costco. They're like $30 and they've got a lot of good cushion. You don't need to go out and spend a lot of money on a specific standing desk mat. Just get something that's got some cushion on it, because yeah, your feet do need some support and a bit of cushioning. Okay. All right. So what I would like to do now is move. You've been sitting now for, I don't have the time on me, but for a little while. So we're going to move a little bit. So if you're comfortable turning on your cameras, please do. If you happen to have a towel, because what I had recommended is that we bring a towel and a tennis ball. I'm going to show you a couple easy things that you can do at your desk to help get rid of some of these aches and pains that we have when we're sitting. All right, so we're gonna start with the neck, and I'll demo them. And again, if you have any questions, please not hesitate to type it in the chat. I will get to questions at the end. So I've just kind of rolled up my towel here. So let's talk about neck pain, because that's very common. Two things. If you have neck pain, what I want you to do is I want you to check which direction it hurts in the most. Sometimes for people, they'll say, oh, when I look down, I get a really big pull in the back of my neck and into my shoulder blades. If that's the case, then we need to stretch a certain way. The other way that people will often get pain is if they look up and they're like, oh, it hurts when I look up. So why do those two positions hurt? We're looking down like this all day, right? So if we're looking down like this, what tends to happen is the joints get stuck in this position, so it's hard to look up. The other thing that happens is when we're tucked in this position here, these muscles at the back of my neck, think of it like an elastic band. Like I'm pulling an elastic band from both ends, right? That tension, that's the same thing that's happening to these muscles when I'm like this all day. And then when you let go of an elastic band, what happens? It recoils, right? So when you're here, these muscles get so tight that if you try to look down even further, it's not going to happen or it's going to cause pain. So let's talk about that one first. If you have pain looking down, you're going to grab your towel. It's going just behind the neck, okay? Now, depending on where you feel most of the pull, if you feel a lot of pull in the upper part of the neck, move your towel up. If you feel a lot of pull at the bottom of the towel, or at the bottom of your neck, move your towel down. And what I'm doing from this position, I'm just going to turn to the side. I'm taking my towel, pulling that way. So I'm pulling my towel here. And then I'm going to slowly bring my chin towards my chest. So what I'm doing is I'm stretching those muscles. Those are the muscles that have been held like an elastic band for 7, 8, 9 hours, however long we're sitting, and we're stretching those out with the towel, okay? When you're doing these, you want to do them slow and do about 10. And you should feel that pull, but as you get to 10, it should become easier. Now, if you've got the other issue where looking up hurts, same setup, okay? My towel is here, pulling forward, and I'm gonna slowly lift my chin. So in this case, yes, we're sort of stretching muscles, but what we're actually doing is opening up the spine. And again, when we look up and it's painful, it's often because the spine is stuck and it's stiff. So using the towel pulls the spine that way, and then I'm looking up, ultimately opening up the spine, okay? So that's one of my favorite ones to do for the neck. The next one I'll talk about, and we'll do another 3. The next one I want to talk about, I get this question a lot about how to prevent getting the hunchback. I guess that's the real concern for people who are working at a desk. And I'm just going to slide my camera back a little bit, because you need to see my arms. So my arms are out like this, but it's hard to see because I've got very long arms. But you're gonna just have your arms extended out to the side, but I'm gonna keep mine like this, okay? And I've got one thumb down, one thumb up. So my thumb that's up, I'm gonna start by looking over there. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly turn my head and rotate my thumb up to the side that I'm looking. And same thing. And I'm just alternating, but again, my hands are out here doing it, okay? What that does is it creates movement right where your spine and your upper back meet. That's where, if we were to develop a hunch, that's where we would develop it. But this helps to move that area so that it doesn't get stuck in that position. And again, you would do like 5 per side, 10 altogether. So if you're concerned about a hunchback, that is my go-to exercise. And you'll see all these exercises, you don't even need to leave your desk. So there's no excuse why you can't do these during the day. Now, the other thing I want you to have at your desk is a tennis ball. One condition I didn't talk about is tennis elbow, which really should be called mousing elbow. All this clicking, all this tapping, you can sometimes strain the muscle here and you'll get pain on the outside of your elbow, but it's all because of tightness in the forearm. So what you can do is you can grab a tennis ball, okay? So I've got a tennis ball here. I'm just gonna lower my screen so you can see it. And I'm literally finding a knot in my forearm and just doing a little circle. And that's like massaging my forearm, and I can rotate here. So wherever you feel there's tightness, find that spot, put pressure down, and just do little circles, okay? But releasing the forearm is gonna take pressure off the elbow, okay? And trust me, mousing elbow is legit. So if you've been typing, mousing all day, you're getting a lot of pain here, that means you've got tightness here that we need to release. The other thing I want you doing with your tennis ball, you can do a couple things. If you've got tightness in your butt, just grab a seat, put it under your butt, a little circle. Find the knot, little circle, right on your chair. Do the same thing on the other side. This guy works as like a little massager. If you can't get to your massage therapist, or you're stuck at your desk and you're starting to feel the pain and you want to start treating it now, have this handy at your desk, okay? And the last one I want to show you for the forearms and the wrists, again, towel, okay? All we're doing, bringing out the towel with my elbows extended, okay? Stretching the wrist, moving the forearm, getting the muscles loosened. So this is a great one to do for wrist and elbow pain, all right? Okay, so, oh, sorry, I meant to go to this slide. All right, so I just want to finish up by this is just a general idea of how you should be kind of set up, and it goes through a couple things or 5 things that you can do in a day. I would love to share this with you, and I will talk to Kim and Chanel and figure out how I can get this particular slide to you. It's one of my favorites because it literally goes through head to toe, and it's easy to understand, talks about taking a break, which I love. So I will make sure to get that to you. And then also too, I've just included my information here, where you can find me. So as I said, I'm in Mississauga, and I know not everyone is in not everyone's in Canada for that matter, but that's okay. I also run a program called the Better Posture Program, which I started earlier this year because so many people were contacting me about posture issues but weren't able to come to the office. So what this program does, it's a 5-week program. We meet once a week online, and we literally go from head to toe, how to properly stretch, how to properly engage, how to properly strengthen. It really teaches you what posture is all about. Because we all think posture is sitting up straight. That is a small little bit of posture. How flexible your hips are affects your posture. You know, how tight your neck is affects your posture, your shoulders, everything affects your posture. And so that's why we take a body segment each week, each of the 5 weeks, and go through exercises, talk about desk setup for that part. Like, we really work on posture from head to toe. And it gives a lot of the exercises I talked about today. Some of those are in the program. And then you have access to these exercises forever. You can, click on, say, hey, my neck hurts. What do I do for my neck? Click on that week, and you've got all your exercises there to go through. And then, of course, you can follow me on social media. I do try to, at least once a week, post little videos to help people from, setting up desks, stretching at desk, what to do in the morning before you sit down, what to do after work when you sit down. There's a whole bunch of things that I try to post because pandemic posture is real. It's real, it's real, it's real. And it saddens me now, especially because I'm seeing so many kids. And if there's anything that I can do to prevent that, I want to. Again, because this all aligns with my vision that we all have a right to be healthy. Pain is an indication that there's a problem. Women, ladies, I say this every day. Pain is your body telling you, stop, something is wrong. It doesn't matter if you're in pain and you can still, do your dishes, or you can still go for your run. The fact that you're having pain is your body saying, hey, listen to me, I need help. And that's kind of what I try to do, is try to help you identify when there's an issue and give you things that you can do to help with that. Because I do believe we are our own best health advocates. So I will stop talking just in case there are some questions that I can hopefully get to.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nekessa. You honestly gave so many gems. As Chanel said, so many gems dropped today. I was like shocked at how much I need to revisit my workstation at home.
Yes, it's true.
I know we have some questions that are going to be coming in. In the meantime, I have a question. What are some recommendations for some of us who, let's say, may not have access to a table? So I know working from bed is usually something that's not recommended, but is there a way that you can safely work from bed, or a couch? Let's say you don't have access to it.
So if you're going to work from bed, and depending on the height of your bed, if you can even use your bed as the desk, that might be an option. So people who might have like a stool, or if you've got a fitness ball, maybe you can use that as the chair and the bed as the desk, just so that you're a little bit more upright. And if you have to work from your couch, please keep your feet flat on the floor. Do not have your feet extended on the couch or on a coffee table. Have your feet flat on the floor. And that's when, yes, you may have to invest in those little portable laptop stand. I don't know if you call it a stand. It's like the tray, laptop tray. You can get one of that, which has like a cushion and then a hard surface, just so that you're a little bit more raised. Because if you're working on your lap, your head is down. It's not good for the neck. You want to be raised. But yes, feet flat on the floor and just try to raise the laptop as best you can.
Wow, I love that, because I was doing the complete opposite. I like to, I'm the type of person, I have a workstation, but I don't want to be there all day. So I like to move around the house.
Yes.
I'm one of those types of people.
And that's good. Movement is good.
And one of the things I was doing was in the couch, I have a sectional, and I was actually going to the spot where I can lay my feet out, because I was like, oh, maybe it helps with the circulation. But that's amazing. That's good to know. So yes, thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. Okay. My pleasure.
Awesome. So we have another question. Yeah. And so the person mentioned that they noticed they're getting a lot of back and neck pain lately. A lot of back neck pain. Are there any tips on how to prevent this pain when it comes to cell phone use, especially?
Oh, yes. So if you have to be on your phone for work, definitely consider earbuds, whatever, so that you're not doing this. Or some people will be on speaker, but they're still looking down. Consider AirPods, put your phone down, and just walk a little bit in your kitchen, because that's one thing I don't know if I said, but I should say. Your body craves movement. So being in one position, holding your phone, looking at your phone down like that for long periods of time, it's stationary. Your spine doesn't want to be stationary. So if you can put your phone down, get in some earpods and walk while you're on the phone, I would do that. Now, if we're on the phone, scrolling through Instagram, which we're all guilty of, again, bring the phone to you. And that's another thing. You always want to bring the equipment to you. You don't want to go to the equipment. So if my phone is here, I don't want to bring my neck here. I want to bring the phone to me, right? So that way I'm at least in better alignment. So that's the best piece of advice I can give about that.
Great. That's a great tip. I like when you said bring the device to you.
Yes.
I think that's something that we'll definitely remember. Next question in regards to working from home. Again, I know you touched base on it a little about wrist. So kind of what position your wrist should be at. So I know there are some portable laptop risers.
Yes.
And I actually have one that I use when I travel and so forth, but I've noticed that my wrist is actually in like this position. Yeah. Is that good or is that bad? Like what?
Yeah, that position for a long period of time, that's another reason why people sometimes get the elbow pain, because like if you just do this, I mean, you can't really see, but my muscles here are like working overtime versus here. They're not working as much. They're working more efficiently. So you don't want to be in this position. So if you are using a laptop and you need to raise your screen, I would recommend investing in a wireless keyboard so that you can keep that flat on a surface so that you can be here if you have to raise your screen. Now, things happen, you're traveling, you're elsewhere. If you have to be in a certain position like this, what I would recommend, and I recommend this for anyone who's in a poor position for a while, set a timer on your phone, your watch, whatever. But after 30 minutes, if that timer goes off, you stop, you grab your towel, you do some of these, you stretch your wrist for a minute, maybe less, but you have to stretch it out. And then if you need to go back to that position, go back. But set your timers. That's really, really important.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I know we have just a few more minutes here, so we'll do probably one last question. So based on everything that you shared today, what are essential tools that you would recommend to someone who's creating their new workstation and they're working with a budget, let's say, right? What are, let's say, our top 3 things that we must have?
Wireless keyboard, because most people have a laptop. So if you can't afford to buy a desktop, totally fine. But get a wireless keyboard so that way you can adjust your laptop accordingly. The other thing I would invest in is probably, chairs are pretty essential, but they can be expensive. So what the other thing I might invest in is an actual back support, like a portable back support. So there are ones, like a big famous company that does it is called Obisform. They kind of help us maintain that S shape. So even if your chair isn't the greatest, if you slide that on the back of your chair, then you can use that. And then the other thing that I would probably say that you definitely have to have at your desk is if you're able to go from the sit to stand position, I would highly recommend that. And you don't need to like literally go out and buy anything. You could find something at home. But the one thing I would make sure you have is that the cushion to stand on, because you do need that for shock absorption. You do need that for arch and cushioning in the foot. Because I hate when people say, I try to stand, but then my feet cramp. Ooh, that's the worst. So do get the cushion so that way you can support yourself when standing.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know I definitely will be invested in what you've just mentioned. It has been such a pleasure having you with us today in your village. Just the amount of knowledge you've shared with us, that I know a lot of us are super thankful for. And as I mentioned beforehand, this workshop is recorded, so it is going to be available on our on-demand section in just a few days. And so if you didn't have enough time to take some notes, not to worry. Dr. Nekessa, I know you also have a wonderful flyer that you want to share with us.
Yes.
So we will definitely be able to share that in Inner Village as well. And can you just let us know, what is the start date for your Better Posture program coming up in June?
So we will be starting June 22nd, which is a Tuesday, and we'll be running for 5 consecutive Tuesdays from 6 to 6:30. It is online. And like I said, it's a smaller group. I'm trying to keep it to small groups so that I can answer questions just like I'm doing today. And the good news is, like I said, it's head to toe posture. At the end of the session, you have 35 exercises, certain ones for each body part that you can access and hopefully help you stay happy, healthy, and really teach you what it means to have good posture. Because so many people don't quite understand what that means, but by the end of this program, you'll understand what it feels like for you to be in good posture and how you can maintain that. That is the important thing, maintenance. And I really want people to be in control of their posture, and that's what that program is all about. So Tuesday, June 22nd, we start.
Awesome. Great. Well, for everyone that has joined us today, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. We really appreciate sharing this space with you. And as usual, Dr. Nekessa is also a member of Inner Village. So feel free, if there's something that comes up to you, you definitely can reach out. You can send her a private message. Dr. Nekessa does answer, so I love that. And we've also dropped her Instagram link in the chat, so be sure to follow to keep up with the great things that she has coming up. Once again, Dr. Nekessa, thank you so much for being here with us. And as a reminder to everyone, this is your village and you deserve to be well. Have a wonderful day.